Rhea traveled through space without a specific destination. Her ship moved through hyperspace routinely. She was avoiding certain locations, worlds affected by war, planets marked by betrayal, and systems controlled by the Empire. No place felt safe or familiar to her anymore. She was dealing with grief, much deeper than any physical wound from the Clone Wars. The destruction of the Jedi Order had affected her, but it was the loss of her brother, Anakin, that hurt the most. He had meant more to her than just family. He had given her hope for what the Jedi could be. Now he was gone, believed to have died on Mustafar during a violent confrontation. She often replayed those events in her mind. What happened on Mustafar, Anakin's anger, and her decision to leave him. She thought she had done the right thing, but in the aftermath, she started to doubt herself. She questioned whether the Jedi had failed him and whether she had failed to help him when it mattered most. The Force no longer felt the same to her. What once guided her now only reminded her of everything that had been lost. She thought about abandoning it completely, unsure of its purpose after everything that had happened. Eventually, she landed on a remote, uninhabited moon in the Outer Rim. It was quiet and isolated, which was what she wanted. She stayed hidden, away from others and from the Force. Her days passed in solitude. During that time, she began to write a journal. At first, it was just to remember Anakin as he used to be. But the writing soon became an outlet for her guilt and confusion. She wrote to understand what had happened and why. She did not write from the perspective of a Jedi or a sister, but simply as someone trying to understand her place in a changed galaxy. Time passed slowly on the remote moon. Rhea lived in isolation, spending her days walking through the cliffs and forests. A small group of settlers lived in the valley, mostly farmers and scavengers. She kept her distance from them and spoke rarely. Then, one day, raiders arrived and began attacking the settlers. Rhea intervened. Though she had tried to remain hidden, she used the Force in small, controlled ways. She didn't kill, but she redirected attacks, disarmed opponents, and confused them enough to force them to leave. The settlers never asked who she was, but they came to rely on her presence. Using the Force again felt different. It was weaker, quieter, but still there. Gradually, she allowed herself to reconnect with it, just enough to help others and remember who she had been. Then, after a long period of peace, a ship landed near her camp. It was a small, fast vessel. Rhea sensed the arrival before seeing the person. Ahsoka Tano stepped out. Rhea hadn't seen her in years, not after she left the Order. She wanted to ask Ahsoka how she had found her, but deep down, she already knew. Jedi cannot help what they are. Their compassion leaves a trail. And that very quality had led Ahsoka to her. Stories had reached Ahsoka of a Jedi aiding villagers on the Outer Rim, protecting them from raiders. From the descriptions, there was no doubt it was Rhea Skywalker. Ahsoka brought news. The Empire was expanding fast, and the rebellion needed people like Rhea to fight back. But Rhea refused. She still felt too wounded and uncertain. Before leaving, Ahsoka shared something important. Anakin hadn't died on Mustafar. He had survived and become the Emperor's ruthless enforcer. He became Darth Vader. Rhea didn't respond. She stood silently, overwhelmed by the news. She had believed Anakin had died in their final confrontation. Now she had to accept that he was alive and had become a threat to the galaxy. After Ahsoka left, Rhea sat alone, thinking. She understood that Anakin's survival changed everything. She would have to decide what to do with that truth about him, the galaxy, and what remained of her hope for him. Many years later, Rhea arrived on Tatooine. The planet remained as it had always been, hot, dry, and harsh. She didn't come for comfort. She was guided by a feeling through the Force, a sense that she had unfinished business on her home planet. It had been long since she last saw Ahsoka or heard Anakin's name spoken. Rhea had spent that time moving from planet to planet, never staying long. She helped when she could and hid when she had to. Then she began having dreams. Visions involving sand and a boy who reminded her of both Anakin and Padme. She traveled to the area near the Junlan Wastes. From a distance, she observed the Lars homestead. She saw a teenage boy riding a speeder through the desert. He looked like Padme but moved like Anakin. She recognized traits from both parents. Rhea didn't approach. She kept her distance and stayed hidden in the Force. But she felt another presence, one too familiar. It was Obi-Wan Kenobi. She found him in a nearby canyon. He looked older and worn. Their meeting was quiet. They didn't speak much, but both understood the weight of the past. They had different views about what had happened to Anakin. Neither of them had fully recovered from it. Obi-Wan told her the boy's name, Luke. Then he told her about Leia. Rhea stared at him, caught between awe and disbelief. She had not known there were two children. She felt grief for the time and connection she had lost. Luke and Leia were the last hope for the ideals she and others had once believed in. Rhea didn't know exactly what role she was meant to play now, but she accepted that the Force had led her here for a reason. She stayed near the boy, quietly observing, knowing her involvement was not yet over. She had failed to save Anakin once, but perhaps now, through his children, there was a way back. Rhea remained on Tatooine, but kept herself hidden. She monitored Luke from a distance, careful not to be seen. She moved from place to place, avoiding attention, and maintained a low profile. Like Obi-Wan, who lived nearby under the name Ben Kenobi, Rhea acted as a silent guardian, watching over the boy who was Anakin's son. She and Obi-Wan spoke occasionally. Their conversations were cautious and focused on Luke's future. They disagreed on whether he should be trained in the Force. Obi-Wan believed it was safer to let Luke live a normal life for as long as possible. Rhea believed Luke needed to be prepared for what lay ahead. Their discussions reflected their shared concern and the consequences of past choices. Rhea often thought about her past encounters with her brother Anakin. Each time she had tried to find signs of the brother she once knew, but he never responded. Vader remained closed off, consumed by anger and pain. Her efforts to reach him through the Force failed. She blamed herself for not preventing his fall and for missing the warning signs. Obi-Wan also carried guilt, but he had come to believe Anakin's fall was inevitable. He saw the situation as beyond their control. Despite their disagreements, both Rhea and Obi-Wan believed Luke might be able to restore balance to the Force. Rhea spent her time watching over him, staying hidden, and waiting for the right moment. Each night she remembered her promise to protect Anakin's children and to do what she could to help repair the damage Anakin had caused. One day, Ahsoka reached out to Rhea, her voice edged with fierce determination and raw desperation. This time, she wasn't asking. She needed Rhea by her side to journey to the haunting world of Malachor, where together they would uncover the secrets to stopping Vader and the Sith once and for all. Although Rhea still didn't feel the urge to join the fight, this mission felt personal. She wanted to do it for her brother. She informed Obi-Wan, who was reluctant about the mission, but she went anyway. Leaving the dusty sands of Tatooine far behind, Rhea set out for Malachor alongside Ahsoka, Kanan, Ezra, and, of course, Chopper. Just as they had successfully retrieved the powerful Sith holocron in the Sith Temple, the air grew heavy with menace. Darth Vader had arrived, casting a shadow darker than night over their desperate mission. Vader's presence felt strong and oppressive. Rhea sensed a brief hesitation in him, possibly a sign of recognition. She believed she still saw traces of Anakin within him. She spoke first, her voice steady but fierce.
Annie, it's me. Rhea, your sister. And I won't leave you, not this time.
Anakin paused, a bitter laugh escaping him.
Ha! The sister leaves.
He continued.
That name no longer means anything to me. Anakin Skywalker is dead.
Ahsoka stepped forward.
You don't have to do this, Anakin. We can end this darkness together.
Vader turned to Ahsoka. His voice was cold, but tinged with something almost like anticipation.
It was foretold that you'd be here. Our long-awaited meeting has come at last.
Rhea pleaded.
Please, I know the man you were. I can feel the light buried deep inside you. It's not too late.
Vader snarled.
Anakin Skywalker was weak. I destroyed him.
Anakin, remember who you are. Remember us. We are your family. You don't have to be this monster.
Rhea urged. For a moment, he hesitated, then growled.
Family is a weakness.
I came here to stop you. Not just for me, but for the galaxy.
Rhea declared. Vader took a menacing step forward and ignited his lightsaber.
Very well. If you cling to hope, then you'll die with it.
With no other choice left, Ahsoka and Raya ignited their sabers and engaged him. The fight was brutal and charged with painful memories. Ahsoka met him head-on, their sabers colliding in a shower of sparks, each strike a fierce duel of skill and will. Raya moved with purpose, circling, searching for an opening. Her strikes were measured, precise, driven by the weight of her training and the desperate hope to reach the man beneath the mask. Then with a sudden, powerful blow, Raya cracked Vader's helmet, unleashing a furious roar. But in that fractured moment, she caught a glimpse of her brother's face, scarred, haunted, and memories of Mustafar flooded her mind. Vader faltered too, his rage giving way to a long-suppressed voice, whispering a name he hadn't spoken in years.
Raya!
Tension filled the air as the name hung between them. For a heartbeat, Vader's mask seemed to soften, his eyes flickering with a glimpse of the man he once was. Raya held her breath, daring to hope that this crack in his darkness might be enough to turn him back. Then, with a sudden roar of fury, the moment shattered. Vader's instincts surged forward, and he launched a relentless, savage attack. The fragile hesitation was gone, replaced by the merciless power of the Sith. Ahsoka quickly reacted and used the Force to push Raya out of the crumbling temple, buying her a chance to escape. Kanan and Ezra urged Raya to come with them to their hidden base for safety and regrouping, but she refused, her voice firm. She had other paths to walk before she could truly join them. After the encounter, Raya realized that while Anakin might be buried deep inside Vader, Vader wasn't completely unreachable or unbeatable. That understanding gave her renewed determination. She left Malachor more resolved than before. She believed that even in darkness, some part of Anakin remained, and that it might still be possible to reach him.
Until next time, remember, each story is but a spark in a galaxy full of endless possibilities. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned, and may the Force be with you always.